feel like, the world is changing. Things change. Obviously, things are not going to stay the same from when we open our business to present day. And so we have to be able to understand why it's changing, understanding what our consumers want, and be able to provide that for them. And just because someone told you have to do it that way does not mean that you have to do it that way. And you can take a risk and try something different. And maybe it doesn't work for Jack's salon around the corner, but it works for my salon here. And that is all that matters. So there's those, that's what we're talking about today, right? Is those kind of risks that, can be scary and we don't know how it's going to pan out. And then in this example, it actually worked out so much better than I could have expected. And I still have new clients that come into my business and they're like, where's all your shampoo and conditioner? Not because they want to buy it, because they just expect to see it. That's just what you're supposed to do. And so if you know anything about me, I do the opposite of what you're supposed to do.
Yes.
So pretty much everything I do is a major risk taking, at least within the beauty industry.
Yeah.
Well, that's a perfect example, really. And we've talked about this before too, is that starting businesses today, whatever it may be, whether it's retail, service, online, but whatever it is, it's a much not easier. I keep wanting to say easier. It's the risk, the financial risk is much lower than what it was, not that long ago because of technology. So I think that, in today's world, the opportunity to step into entrepreneurship has gotten financially more feasible for more people. Now, does it make it easier? No, it's still hard work. And, it still takes time.
Yeah.
Then the other question you have to ask is, yes, technology is going to allow me to get into entrepreneurship, get into business easy, less expensive, and it's more feasible. Where's the threats of technology in my business? Now, and for those of our listeners that have had, we'll call it the brick and mortar retail or, that type of operation, that's something you really need to be asking yourself that question. Because if you're not feeling the impact of technology on, especially retail, you probably will at some point, whether it's the Amazon effect or, whatever the case may be. So I guess my question, to some entrepreneurs out there, are you trying to hang on to something that's maybe not the best use of, your investment dollars because retail is getting impacted? Makes sense to say, okay, maybe I should be building something, a different model or starting to incorporate a different model or add a different model, meaning online presence with my business so that if we start to see that downturn, I'm not starting from scratch when, things are already heading down. I've already kind of got everything in the works to even make that transition. I mean, the days of, calling in and ordering a pizza and then driving, driving to the place and picking it up or having it delivered, now it's just people want to be, just do it right here, right? All the way from ordering it to having it delivered. They don't want to talk to anybody. They just want it. And so, if you don't have that presence in your, food business, depending on, again, the type of food you're selling, you're probably going to get impacted by that at some point in your business. So there's, it's an interesting time to be an entrepreneur. That's for sure, man. It's always been an interesting time to be an entrepreneur, but technology really is changing the game for sure.